welcome to Cool Camera Corner. In this brand new series I take a look at old cameras that I happen to find interesting and cool. Some of them are genuine classics and have rightfully earned their place in history. Others were just ordinary cameras that people once used every day without thinking anything of, but in all cases they can still be used today to take fantastic photographs. So without further ado, let's have a look at today's camera.
Okay, I'm here with Ollie, who is a fantastic camera collector and hoarder of all sorts of interesting things. And today he's going to show us a couple of really interesting cameras, one of which is the camera I guess that you've all been waiting for through seeing the blurb about this on social media, which is the M6. But also another camera which is very, very close to Ollie's heart. Absolutely. And it's a great one for people that are getting into the rangefinder scene and don't necessarily want to spend Leica money first time out, and that's the Zorki. So we'll start, I think, probably with that camera because it's the camera I think that got you into rangefinders in the first place.
Well, absolutely. I mean, here it is. It's a Zorki 1. It's 1955, and it's got its little sort of. It's a 53.5. It came with it initially, but it's just a great, fun little camera to shoot. You know, it's not too complex. It takes a bit of getting used to. I mean, you've got your two viewfinders there. You've got your viewfinder, rangefinder.
So that means it's not a coupled rangefinder like the Leica. This is, you have one for composing and then another for focusing.
Yeah, right. Absolutely. So that took a bit of getting used to, but I mean the thing is you can pick these up for next to nothing, and it's just a great fun little camera to shoot. It really is. You know, it's small. I tell you, it's built like a tank. Somebody tries to burgle you, you can use it as a weapon and take photos of the evidence.
Excellent. There was that wonderful scene of somebody trying to rob Henri Cartier-Bresson in Paris, wasn't there? Did you hear about that?
No.
Back in the 50s, somebody came up to him, some drunken on the streets of Paris, and he got his camera and swung it around his head and knocked the bloke out with it. So yeah, I mean, if you want a weapon and you're, you know, a rangefinder will do it, right? I mean, these old cameras were built absolutely like tanks.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, mate, this thing's hewn out of granite. I mean, well, look, have a look. It weighs an absolute ton.
I mean, that's a heavy thing, like, because it's quite a small camera, and the solidity of that. Is this a brass top? What's it actually made of in there?
I believe it is brass. I haven't seen any brass in. But,
no,
no. But I mean,
still all the coating's very good, isn't it? I mean, there's no brass coming through in any way.
No, absolutely. And I tell you what, Soviet cameras, they're so derided for being agricultural. But actually, it's a superb little body. It's reliable. It does what it says on the tin.
Absolutely. And in fact, the Russians and the Soviets, when they started to take the cameras, like the Kievs, for example, which were basically contactors in the early days, but they took all that early technology and they were making some very, very precision things. And I think a lot of the bad press that they get over here was mainly PR put out by the Contax boys and people who were actually probably a little afraid of cameras like this, which took such damn good pictures.
Afraid, and I think they were probably slightly hacked off as well, because what the Russians did was they effectively picked up a factory and moved it to the Ukraine. They just stole all of Zeiss.
The whole lot. I mean, they literally took everything, didn't they? I mean, they shipped out all the parts and the lot.
The whole lot.
Yeah.
So I mean, this is actually a copy of a Leica 2. And it's not quite as smooth. It's not quite as refined, but to all intents and purposes, it shoots in exactly the same way.
Absolutely. And a Leica 2 these days, I mean, just a body only is going to cost you several £100, and you can pick one of these up for you know, less than 100. I'm guessing, you know, so probably a bit more with the lens on.
Find one of these guys for £40.
That's amazing, isn't it? Really. Yeah. I mean, to get into rangefinders, you know, I think that you really can't do much better, frankly.
No, absolutely.
Absolutely brilliant things. Yeah, those are good, and for a similar money you can get the Kievs, the Kiev 4s, and things, which were the contacts. And it's just a really nice way of getting in, but the glass in these, I mean, tell us a little bit about the glass that you've got in that one and the type of pictures that it takes.
So, I mean, this is, it's actually a copy of a Zeiss Tessar. It's beautifully sharp, it renders really nicely. On this particular lens, it's not terribly contrasty. The coatings weren't all that on Soviet glass. But for black and white, the micro contrast in this is absolutely superb.
But yeah, so they made some absolutely incredible lenses back in the day, and I think what a lot of people don't realise is that this old glass that you get that's coming out of the Soviet Union, really from the sort of 30s, 40s, and right the way through until the 1970s, was actually a lot sharper than some of the modern stuff that you buy now. If you go and buy your kit 18 to 55 with your Canon Rebel or your D3100 or whatever, you're not going to get anywhere near the type of image quality that you get out of these bits of glass.
Absolutely not. I mean, I've got into collecting these guys as well. I've got a 50-1.5, and it is awesome. It's fantastic. Really, really good. It's a special lens, I suppose. It's quite sort of dreamy, but sharp where it needs to be.
Lovely.
No, I mean some of the glass you get for these is amazing.
Perfect. So that's a really good tip for anybody looking out for lenses. Pick up some of this stuff. So this was the one that got you into rangefinders, but I think the bug really hit, didn't it? Tell us about what you have come here with today, because there's a camera that's just sitting down here, which I think is quite nice to have a look at.
Well, this I picked this up, and as you say, I got bitten by the bug, and they're just so much fun to shoot. So I bit the bullet, and I got this little bad boy.
Oh, look at that!
It's my
so talk us through this.
This is an 85 Leica M6. It is amazing. It's quiet, it's subtle, but it's got some of the best lenses for 35mm on the market, bar none.
Bar none. Yeah. I mean, they're in a league of their own.
Yeah.
Really.
No, absolutely. So I mean, the viewfinder as well is absolutely amazing. So for those of you that don't know about how rangefinders work, and Leicas in particular. You've got this fairly sort of wide angle view, and it superimposes frame lines, so you can actually sort of look around the image, and you can sort of see what's going on around the image before it actually happens.
What's coming into frame and what's coming out of frame.
Whereas with an SLR, you've got what you're taking a photo of, maybe slightly less. And
yeah, that's it, because a lot of DSLRs, in fact, don't even have 100% coverage, so you're looking at just slightly inside the frame lines, and you can't tell what's happening. And the other thing is, at the moment when the picture comes down, the mirror gets in the way, and you don't actually see what you're taking, really.
Absolutely.
And that's, I think, another. It's the romantic notion of the rangefinders, that you get to see the picture that you're taking.
Yeah. The thing is, it's just that much sort of easier. It's more intuitive with this. You know, again, you can sort of see what's going to happen before it actually happens, and you don't need to be sort of looking around to sort of see what's going on. You can see everything without
in there. And the viewfinders in there are so bright. I mean, you can. It's just it's like looking through a big bay window. I mean, it's just an extraordinary, bright viewfinder in there.
Absolutely. But I mean, the other thing is, it just gets out of your way and lets you do your job. It's an entirely dumb camera, and a lot of people say, well, it's camera bling. Because it doesn't do anything for you. It's manual focus, shutter speed, aperture. That's all set manually. But there's a certain beauty to that, because you know, you've got entire control over what you're doing, and you get exactly the shot that you want. I mean, this was hot stuff in '84. I think they released these. '85,
something like that. Yep, mid '80s, wasn't it?
But yeah, this had 2 LEDs.
Right.
And the Leica guys were going nuts, because that was
this is much too futuristic. I mean, you know.
You've got stuff like the OM4's coming out, and that's got, you know, it's multi-spot metering, and you've got all of these Nikon. That was F4 then.
What were we in 84, 85? When did the F3 stop? It was around about the F4 started to come in about that time. And that, I mean, it had everything on it. It was motor drives, and it was, they already had, like, I don't know, 39 autofocus points or something by the F4. It's kind
and yet the Leica fanboys are going insane because this has 2 LEDs.
Because there's 2 LEDs
and a little
in
battery spot there.
Right.
and that's what it was. But I can see where they're coming from. It's very much the purist camera, I suppose, is the best way to put it.
And the M6, the LEDs, I guess that's because this was the first camera that had the light meter in it, right?
Yeah.
Because before that, you didn't even get the light meter, is that right?
Well, I mean, there was the M5, which had this bizarre sort of thing that came down on a stalk behind the lens, and then popped up. But this was the first sort of practical one.
Right.
And if you wind it on, there's just that little white spot, and that's all it is.
Is that a selenium meter? What is that?
Do you know, I have no idea. Absolutely no idea. But it tells me when it's too bright and too dark.
Fantastic, and that's really all you need. It does that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's a really interesting point that you said, and it's absolutely bang on, which is that the camera gets out of the way.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people, I guess, they look at Leicas as being these expensive things, and so therefore it must be the be all and end all. The Leica is what you're focusing on. I've got a Leica. Look at me with my Leica, taking pictures with my Leica.
Yeah.
But actually, exactly. That's it. But the reality is actually very different, isn't it? It allows you to just focus through that lovely bright viewfinder on the picture.
No, absolutely, and it's brilliant fun to shoot with as a result, because I'm not busy standing there going, oh well, I've got to do this and that. And that. That's all there is to it.
Fantastic.
It really is.
Now, we're going to do a little bit of an interesting experiment. I don't know if this has been done on YouTube before, but apparently there's a rumour going around. Some of you may know that Olympus bought out the OM1 and got in trouble by Leica, because they originally called it the M1.
Yeah.
And Yasuhisa Maitani,
yeah,
that's the chap. He basically got, as far as we can work out, he got a Leica and some tracing paper and put a mirror in it. That's basically what he did.
Absolutely.
And Leica went a bit mental about this. But the rumour is that you can get an OM1 case and put a Leica in it, because they were so identical in size that they actually used the same case size. So let's have a look. We actually have here an OM1 case from the OM1, and we shall see if this actually fits in. So this is a first. Let's see what close up camera here,
right?
And see if it's actually true.
It looks as though it's about the right size.
It's not far off, is it?
Yeah, no, not at all. Look, there you go. You see,
it's good as a go. Could be a world premiere.
Oh, it's a bit of a squeeze.
It's tight. But he's taking a photo up his nose and of that spectacular moustache, which we're a big fan of.
I'll tell you what. Technical hint.
We got the strap on there.
Yep. But I think it might go in.
That's amazing, isn't it? I mean, this proved the Leica boys right, actually, that he had basically drawn around it with a bit of greaseproof paper and a pencil.
Yeah.
Because the shape of it, I mean, we're looking at this going in now, and there's I think without that strap on, that's going to absolutely fit in.
That will fit in perfect. Actually, look, you see, it's
got a little thing there, so you can actually put the thing around it.
Oh, I might have to do it with my eye on. Okay.
There we go.
And look, and even the strap lugs.
And the strap lugs actually marry up as well.
Yeah.
So there we go. I mean, that proves the point. And I mean, the OM1, which came out in 1978, 1979, something like that. I mean, in terms of dimension, let's take it out of there and see what the dimension is, because it was the smallest sort of film SLR that was around, and by quite a long way. Let's just try the sort of length of it along the back there.
Look, there we go.
And you can see it is, it's a very, very close match.
That's very similar,
isn't that just?
Yeah.
So Olympus got in trouble. They had to change it from the M1 to the OM1.
Yeah.
They didn't change anything else.
No, that's it. Yeah.
That was it. So the point about that is that the Leicas are very, very small cameras, and that makes them a joy, I think, to use, because for those of us that carry around big modern DSLRs to work and a bag of lenses, it's just such a joy to take.
Absolutely. I mean, it's not a great camera for everything. It's not. You're not going to take this to a football match. You're not going to take it to. But you might take it to, say, a wedding, or just going out shooting on the street, because it's quiet, it's subtle, it's not noticeable. You're not going to be sort of, you bring out some honking great Nikon D4, and people are going to be terrified of it.
It looks like a cannon, not a cannon, a cannon gun. It looks like you're going to mow people down with these big cameras. And
well, do you know what? To be fair. Half of them do look like you can mow people down.
Yeah, you actually can. You can do a nasty injury with some of these things. It's big.
Absolutely.
So we're now going to have a look at some of the pictures that Ollie's taken with these cameras. And the first picture that's up on screen now, this was taken with this is the black and white one with the man
with
and the dog.
The gentleman with the gentleman's man.
So talk us through that and the experience of shooting that and what lens you used to take that picture.
Well, this was actually with the oh, by the way, so this is my little. Because my cap didn't come with my hood didn't come with a cap, so I've got a little bobble hat that came off a drink bottle.
Fantastic.
But this is actually a Zeiss planar f2, 50 f2.
Right.
And another stunning little lens. It's about as sharp as you will ever get. It was a toss-up between this and a Summicron.
Right.
They're about the same money, and it's just got this superb sort of 3D pop that a lot of people talk about.
And you can really see that in the image that's up on screen now, just that it's in black and white as well, so it's a nice way that you can actually see just how well defined those edges are, and how 3D everything looks in that black and white, the contrast on it and its ability to render just lovely smooth shapes around things. I mean, it's an extraordinary thing, and that, I guess, it's a combination of the way that Zeiss actually put their elements together, but the coating on them was very very good, and just allowed for very little glare to get through, didn't it? I mean, it allowed really the sort of depth of the picture to come forward.
But the other thing is, the plane is actually a fairly old design. It's a fairly old formula. They had it in Rolleiflexes and this sort of thing. And I think it's a classic case of if it ain't broke, don't fix
it. Yeah, it works. It takes sharp pictures. You know, why do you want to mess around with that? You know,
well, precisely. And it's a really it's a lovely feeling lens as well. I mean, you know, the focus is really smooth on it. The aperture, it's simple things, but it's
this is the thing that makes it. Look at that. I mean, you can't get any sense of that on YouTube at all. But it is so buttery smooth to change that aperture ring on there.
Yeah.
It's a delight, and it makes. There we go. We've got focus on there. It's so smooth in both directions, and there's no click when it gets from one direction. It changes direction so smoothly.
Yeah,
it's just absolutely buttery, and I think that's the thing that makes these things so pleasurable to shoot with. The quality of the way they're engineered is so good. I mean,
absolutely
lovely, absolutely lovely stuff.
Yeah.
And this next picture, which is that lovely strawberry cake.
Yes.
Which is taken. Was that the same?
It looks a little bit like a smiley face, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. It's a very happy strawberry cake.
Yeah.
And it's happy because it was taken with that lovely lens.
Taken with the finest camera that ever there was.
Exactly.
I'm sure somebody's going to have something to say about that. You be nice in the comments.
Yes, exactly. We'll get the trolls on this.
But yeah, no. Again, it's thanks to this guy. I mean, for God's sakes, it was shot on Kodak Gold.
Wow.
Which gives you some kind of a clue of the rendering on this.
Yeah, exactly. Because I mean, it's a very sort of basic film stock, and it's in no means renowned for its ability to render colour very well, but the lens has actually gone through that, and just they really pop. I mean, you could eat those strawberries off the top of that cake.
No, absolutely. And again, you can really sort of see. And the other thing is the bokeh. The background just melts away. It really ceases to exist.
Yeah, I mean, it's
so
so smooth.
You've got the cake, and that's it.
And yeah, exactly. And that again, it just helps really relieve things in the background and draw focus to them. And it's just so creamy, that bokeh, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's so soft.
Almost as creamy as the cake.
Almost as creamy as the cake. Put on the cheek. There we go.
There we go.
So the third picture that we've got. What picture do we have on?
This is actually a picture of my mother. It was
cool.
taken on holiday in Thailand.
Fantastic.
And that was using this guy. It's a Voigtlander 35 1.4.
Wonderful.
And just as a side note, another reason I love these. It's tiny.
It is tiny, isn't
it? Look, I mean, that's all that pokes off the.
I mean, that's the 35-1.4. Yeah. This is the 35-1.8 that Nikon do. I mean,
Yeah, hang on.
And this is the smallest lens. I think this is the smallest current lens in Nikon's lineup.
Is that really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Apart from they might have a pancake lens or two floating
possibly,
around, but for I mean, and it's just silly, isn't it? I mean.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Thank you.
And also, this is all plastic. And that's all made out of metal stuff.
Metal.
And exactly.
Again, it weighs a ton. It's a heavy little lens.
It is
what
heavy.
it is.
Well, I mean, it weighs. I would say 2 or 3 times what that does. I mean,
yeah.
Well,
hang on. Look, pop it on the body and have a look at it.
And that again makes. I mean, street photography very, very unobtrusive. And the 35 mil width. I mean, that's the one that. Your Robert Cappers and your Bruce Gildens and your Cartier-Bressons. I mean, this is the 35mm with the Leica. That's your classic. I mean, it's strawberries and cream at Wimbledon, that, isn't it? Yeah. Well, listen, Ollie, thank you very much for joining me and showing me these cameras. We will be looking in the next episode that we're doing with Ollie, because he is an absolute camera nut like myself. And he's got a lot of really, really cool stuff. And the next episode that features Ollie, we're going to be having a look at TLRs. For those of you that don't know, that's a twin lens reflex. So we're going to be delving into the wonderful world of TLRs, because you can still use those today. And again, this is an undervalued section of cameras, because they don't make them anymore. You can get such stonking pictures out of these things that
no, absolutely. But we'll leave that for another video.
We'll leave that for another video. Great stuff. Ollie, thanks very much for joining me.
Matt, thank you.
That's brilliant. Now, if you haven't done so already, there's an enormous great big red box there that says subscribe. Jab at that frantically and furiously, and sign up and look at all the other videos. There's plenty on there, and I'll see you again soon. Thanks for watching.
If you liked that video, click on these videos. You may well like them too. Cheers.